Jan Ochoa.
Jeff Grubb.
Welcome to Pentiment. This is, well, listen, it's a video game, all right? And there's no denying that it's a video game.
Okay.
But at first glance, it might not look at a video like a video game because it's got its whole own thing going. It's got its own look. It looks like old wood pressed carved art. I'm actually completely unfamiliar with this art style and how it actually works. I mean, I've seen images of it, as people can see on the screen now.
Whoa, you're moving.
Yes, I can move this guy around. But yes, it's an Obsidian game from Josh Sawyer. Josh Sawyer, most well-known, I believe, this could be wrong, most well-known for Fallout New Vegas. This game is not a Fallout game. I don't know if you could tell that by just glancing at it. Not a Fallout game.
I don't know, Jeff. It's a little bit early. Let's see if you got VATS.
Hey, listen, I haven't seen all the twists and turns. Yeah, I've not had VATS yet, but I haven't got a weapon yet, so maybe that's just my problem. I'm going to lay some groundwork here. This is at the end of what I believe is Act 1 of the game. This is not quite medieval. It happens a little bit later than medieval. I'm not exactly sure what academics would call this time period. But we are in the Holy Roman Empire. I play as this guy walking around here. His name's Andreas. He's an artist who's been working in this abbey, trying to finish his masterpiece so that he can then become a master he has to get married, he can open his workshop, and then he can officially become a master of his craft or whatever. While doing that, he's working at this abbey that's got some issues. They're a little bit behind the times. There's a lot of strife between the people who live in this town and who run the abbey in terms of their taxes, all this stuff. Whatever. We're getting into the weeds. What really matters is that I befriended my character Andreas befriended a man named a baron, and he came to town, and then that guy got killed, and my good friend Piero got accused of it. And we are now in the process of trying to clear his name. This is the setup for the game. So while there are going to be spoilers, we are going to be spoilers. I want to make it very clear. This game is all about your choices. And you're going to see the ramifications of my choices. My gut tells me is that everyone's playthrough could be very, very different. Especially, I mean, you're going to end up in this scene that we're about to do, which is going to be, I think, this a chance to talk to the archdeacon who wants to understand what has happened here and like what I've investigated. But in terms of like who you might have the opportunity to accuse, in terms of the people you've befriended, whether or not the Baron even liked you or whatever, these things could all be very different playthrough. And so let's get through here. Let's see if the drama really builds up, and then we'll take it from there. So I'm going to observe this artwork here. This is a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
I've been politely nodding this whole time.
Yes, thank you so much, Dan. That's what I need you here for. So, yeah, this is a lot of what the game is. It's making observations. A Dance of Death mural. Father Matthias had it painted a few years before his death. It's beautiful. You can get the little details like that, and then you can walk in here and begin a scene, and it's going to be a lot of talking. It is a talky game, very much so.
So there is voice acting.
Well, it's a reedy game. It's a reedy game is what I should say.
Okay.
There is zero voice acting. I am usually in a place these days where I'm like, it kind of bothers me. It's small, short sentences. The storytelling comes in quick bursts, and I found that very digestible. Let's see, Jacob, please state your name for our records. Andreas is going to say, so I'm Andreas Mahler, journeyman artist from Nuremberg. Andreas, son of Joseph Mahler, master artist from Nuremberg. And now I have these other two options because of how I've spec'd out my character. So this one here, I think it's because I chose that I studied in Italy. This is something I got to decide about my character. Andreas Mahler, artist, recently of Venice. I spent time in Italy, and I could say that. Or because I said I'm also a scallywag, and it's like, how'd you spend your free time? And like, did you read books? And I'm like, no, I got in fights. And so I'm role playing as Mike Mahardy, everybody. So
okay.
I can introduce myself as Andreas Mahler, troublemaker. Now, I'm really concerned for my friend Piero. I'm also concerned about being able to finish my my masterpiece so I can become a master. I'm not going to introduce myself as Andreas Mahler, troublemaker. Even Mike Mahardy wouldn't do that in a situation like this. So
not at first, at least.
At least not at first. So let's go with Andreas Mahler, artist recently of Venice. And this will be remembered. So if that looks familiar from these kinds of games, yeah, that's what we're dealing with here. It's a Telltale like it is a choose your own adventure, and things your choices matter. All that stuff, like what you are probably piecing together in your head. Yeah, that's what's happening here.
Oh, so this is like The dialogue trees ain't a Fallout game then.
Yes, it's all that. Yes, it's and it's talking your way out of situations, talking your way into situations. There's a lot of that, and then there's some poking around and prodding at the environment to see if you can get into places you're not supposed to be, or maybe make investigations into the murder. So Jake, go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off.
No,
Jeff.
please.
I'm noticing there's certain words that are being highlighted.
Yeah. So
is this just like specific details, or spell check is checking in?
So this is a glossary option. So I'm going to hit the select button on an NES controller, and it brings us to this. So now it's Bavaria, powerful duchy in the southeastern Holy Roman Empire, Nuremberg, Wanderjahr, the wandering years during which a journeyman artist or craftsman travels far and wide to improve their skill, and that's what I'm working on right now. So
that is really cool.
It's very cool. It's very stylized, and it's been very useful. I'm like, I'm trying to remember exactly why Bavaria is important. Yeah.
That's like word vats.
Yeah, it's word vats. Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. So, Jacob, really what brought you all the way to Upper Bavaria? And then we have our two options. I'm heading back to Nuremberg to finish my apprenticeship and open a workshop. It's the end of my Wanderjahr. It was just on the way back to Nuremberg, your reference.
My favorite sitcom, The Wanderjahrs.
The Wanderjahrs. Very well, thank you.
Arnold. So how much have you noticed where there's opportunities for forks to happen?
It definitely seems like the strong forks are where that sign that says "This will be remembered" when that pops up. It seems like there was a strong fork there. So the Baron is someone I talked to many times, and he would ask me things, and basically he was like gauging my character to see if he liked me or not. And I basically constantly failed those my decisions. Gosh. So there was an opportunity later. It's like, okay, he's like in a bad mood. And something bad's kind of going to happen because of this. Do you want to go in there and try to talk him out of it? And there was a check. There was a check on how liked I was by the Baron. And so the Baron listen, the Baron does like you, but you said you weren't going to be great entertainment, and you called him by his first name instead of by his title. And there was all these down arrows on this little menu saying, you messed this up, you messed this up, you messed this up. And I'm like, okay, so we're going to do this check, and I'm going to fail. And sure enough, I failed it. But I have other checks where I have succeeded because of other decisions I've made. But those things are, there's these minor forks, and then there's those big forks where it's like, if you build up enough choices over time in certain circumstances, maybe you'll get a chance to do something else that is fun or different, or really split the story. But really, it just seems like you could be going to any number of places on the map to discover things. And the big thing here, the big thing to keep in mind is time isn't always passing, but whenever you do something, it is basically going to take up time. It is almost like a board game. And I had a chance to go to bed, or I was like, you know what? I heard a way. The lady that works in the library, which I'm not allowed to go into. No one's allowed to go into the library except for the nuns. She mentioned something about how, this place has its secrets. And I'm like, I bet if I sneak around the back over there, I'll be able to find a way in. And I found a way to sneak into the library, but by doing so, it made it clear, this is going to pass time, and you're going to have to stay up later, and that means you're going to sleep in later the next day, and you're going to miss your morning breakfast, and you're not going to have a chance to talk with someone then. So it's like and there's only a finite amount of time to do things, because this guy was coming, and I had to get enough investigation done in that time to be able to present something that might convince them that our dear friend Piero didn't actually kill this guy. But let's see.
I'm liking all of this.
I'm super into it. It's very much like a Telltale game in that a lot of the storytelling is creating mechanics in my brain where I'm like, how are these characters going to interact? How can I, get the best possible outcome? Even if some of these things are predetermined, it doesn't feel like that when I'm making the choices, and I really like that side of things.
Sick.
Let's see. Of course, you reference. So we're getting started with what is, I guess, questioning. This isn't a trial. I'm not on trial here. But Jacob, I think, who is the archdeacon, has come in to determine why is everything falling apart at this abbey. Now then, Master Muller, what was your relation to Lorenz, the Baron Rothvogel? I only knew him for a day, but we were on friendly terms, incidental acquaintances, nothing more. I think this is honest, and I don't see anything wrong with that. Do you feel you had a sense of him as a person? Not really. He seemed kind of like he presented himself as, just a real homie, a real bro. Mm-hmm. And then the stuff I've heard since seems like a real scumbag. That is unfortunate, but I'd like you to try to characterize the man for me. Yeah, okay, so a fine man. Actually, did you see how a fine man, a lover of art and knowledge? Did you see how like the front part of the word lover got scribbled out and replaced?
Yeah.
So that's happening pretty frequently, and I think this is, for one thing, it creates this character in the actual lettering here, and I like that. But it seems to be replicating the way speech patterns aren't always perfect. And so, as you're like reading through it, you're like a fine man, and the word is weird, so you kind of you glance at it, you gloss over it, you try to place it, and by the time you're doing that, the game is erasing part of it and then replacing it. And it's really, really effective in terms of keeping you engaged in what is happening on the screen. Of course, this font, it's pretty stylized. The font gets way more stylized depending on who you're talking to. If you're talking to like a noble person, their font will be very, very like gothic looking.
Hell yeah!
And that's pretty cool. Now, if that's difficult for you to read, you can go in the options and you can go easy read fonts. And you just get rid of that and you're good to go. You can also get rid of historical lettering. So if you'll occasionally see here, I'm not sure there's any good examples here. F and S, my history of English like memory is pretty shaky, but I know F used to be S or something like that. So because I have that turned on, a lot of S's will look like F's here. So that takes me a second too, but I just want to have it all on because I want the full immersion here. So we're going to be describing the Baron in our own terms here. A fine man, a lover of art and knowledge, confident, overbearing, used to getting what he wants, a nobleman for all good and ill. That goes along with that title. Yeah, this seems confident, overbearing. That's right. You think someone would kill him for that? Someone, perhaps. I'm going to say that seems unlikely.
God, I love fonts.
Yes, me too. They're doing this. This game's got those kinds of attentions to detail where it's just if you want to be steeped in that stuff, they are gonna steep you. Someone had to have a reason. If not that, something else. Otherwise, it makes my presence here somewhat difficult to explain. The Baron Rothvogel was murdered here in this very room. Someone did it. Father Granat believes it was one of his monks, Brother Piero. Now, Piero is one of the artists that works with me in the Scriptorum. We work on books that are commissioned by people like the Baron, and Piero was working on the Baron's book. When the Baron came, the Baron complained that, this art is old-fashioned. I'd rather have Andreas work on it. And it was awkward, but Piero handled it really well. The suggestion is that because Piero found him, had a knife in his hand, and was standing over him, that he killed him. But Piero's very old. And the knife wound didn't actually kill him. It seemed like an incidental thing. He fell on it. He also had a head wound on the back of his head. And we know that because we took the opportunity to examine the body. We snuck back into the church with one of the other brothers who is a medic and knows how to do those things. He invited us back. We just had to sneak in with him, and he enabled us to examine the body and get all this information.
How well does the game track like that type of info for you? Just in case you're a little bit foggy on some stuff.
Right. So we have here. Let me see if I can get to it right now. I don't know if it's going to let me look at it right this second.
Shouts out to that long finger as well.
Yeah. I like the fingers like this. Yeah, it's all that kind of funky looking art. It's very good. It does it pretty well. We'll take a look at that when we get a chance. We'll have to probably do it after this. I've met with Brother Piero and questioned him at length. While it seems unlikely that a man of his age and temperament could murder the Baron, he was discovered in flagrante delicto. So let's look that up. That's Latin. In blazing offense, and indicating an individual has been caught in the act of committing a crime. This has been very useful when they go off on one of these. Like, let's go ahead and speak Latin to everybody, if that's Latin, I guess.
I don't know what it is about this specific art style, but this specific art style scares me.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me feel uneasy, but not, like, I don't think this art style is bad. It's just, like, I get the heebie-jeebies for some reason.
Well, yeah, you feel like you're going to turn the page and there's going to be, like, a demon eating entrails of, like, just a young woman or something like that. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Or the Catholic Church. I don't know.
Right. Well, I mean, the same thing. I mean, let's be real. Well, it seems like the man of his age. Okay, so our Andreas has a couple options here. Say nothing. He wasn't, though. The Baron was already dead. And then we have this little wall symbol because while deciding what my character did, I also, like my minor study, my major was art. My minor, I was interested in law. So I know imperial law. So I can speak to law issues when people bring them up. This has been not super helpful in a lot of conversations, but who knows whether the game's, it's a pretty long game. Seems like it might come in handy like in a situation like this. Technically, he discovered the corpus delicti, but was not caught in flagrante delicto. I mean, I'm going to go with it because I just like having the option, but it also seems kind of like correcting the Archdeacon might, like we all know what the Archdeacon meant, but I'm going to go with it anyhow. Master Mahler, I'm not interested in your clarifications, technical or otherwise, no matters of Latin or law. Or on matters of Latin or law. Yep, it's going to be remembered, but, you got to pay the price. I think that's one thing in games like this, you can't obsess about making the perfect choice. Just go with your heart, and that's been really satisfying so far.
Cool. It doesn't seem like there's any type of, like, dice rolls other than, like, these soft skill checks, kind of like what you said before, or how you've been behaving.
Yeah, relationship checks, and those are like earned through the choices you make. Like the dice rolls of life is what it feels like. Did you?
Yeah.
In this one conversation, did you upset them a little bit? I mean, you might have to pay for that later, but it's not I haven't seen any hard dice rolls. You're right.
Sick.
If you wish to advocate on behalf of Brother Piero, I suggest shutting your mouth until I ask you a question. Oh, good. Piero had reasons to resent the Baron, the loss of his work, the insistence on discussing the writings of the troublemaker from Wittenberg. And as for his age and infirmity, I myself have read of many cases in which a man of modest strength succumbs to the temptations of the devil. Once seized by devilish fever, the poor sinner gains an infernal power that allows him to inflict grievous wounds, sometimes fatal. What I'm saying is that in spite of the curious circumstances, Brother Piero is the most plausible perpetrator of this most vile act. I understand that you are on friendly terms with Brother Piero. You also interacted with the Baron both in town and the Abbey. Did you witness anything that suggests someone else could have murdered Baron Rothvogel? Now here's the situation. We have some potential other, maybe they did it. Maybe they were murderers. None of them really seem like they fit the bill, even if they have better motivation than Piero. And the big issue is that some of them involve some really heady stuff, some really heavy issues that could, if we bring that up here, put them in really tough positions. So I'm going to try to navigate this the best I can, and we'll see. But I get a feeling that there's not going to be any great way to do this, because my big thing is I really do like Piero as a character. He was friendly with me, and I want to make sure he's okay. But I also don't want to put, like, let's say a nun that's dealing with, some really hard issues. I don't want to put her out either. So we'll see what we can do. Depressed in chat asks, any idea how long this is? It's about 15 hours is my understanding.
Oh,
I think
wow. That's a lot of reading.
Right. So that might be the big thing. It's like, can this sustain you over that long? I'm about 6 hours in, 5-6 hours in. So far, I've been, like I said, really enjoying it. But, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see if it can maintain that.
And I mean, I guess like we've been starting and stopping a lot just to explain and figure stuff out with mechanics and whatnot. It doesn't, at least so far, it doesn't seem like too much reading if you're just going to be picking this up here and there.
Right. Yeah. Listen, if you're not into like heavy reading games, I've played many more verbose ones than this. I think this does a good job of keeping the reading engaging. I'm definitely one of those people. I get pretty sleepy when I read. Jan, there's something about it. Just kind of gets my eyes pretty fatigued really quickly. I have been sticking with this one though,
nice.
especially on my Steam Deck, where it plays really nicely, and the fonts all render really clearly, and it's easy to read. Okay, let's see here. So we have some opportunity to talk about some of the other people that might have done it. Lucky Steinauer argued with the Baron. He wouldn't give us much. When we tried to talk to him, he wouldn't speak to us. Even though I had dinner with him later, we talked about something else. We never got a chance to actually get a chance to talk about why he was arguing with the Baron. One of the nuns, Sister Matilda, may have wished revenge on the Baron. This is the really sticky situation. The Baron, I believe, basically tried to commit assault on her. She fought back, and so he beat her. Again, heavy stuff. A widow in Tassing, Attila Kempern, hated the Baron. She hates the church, she hates the Baron. She's also pretty old, but she was found with a cane that was broken that looks like it could have been the blunt instrument. So there's like maybe a murder weapon.
Sick.
Yes.
I mean, not sick about murder, but
it's like, it's right. It's cool to stumble across these things, but also she's also pretty old. And, I don't know if she would have, like, motive, yes. Opportunity, I don't know how she could have been in the church, really. I'm doubting. The Abbey's prior Ferenc was behaving suspiciously the day of the Baron's arrival. He may have had a motive. So the prior Ferenc is the one who's, I believe, accusing our buddy. He's also, they were arguing, the Baron and Ferenc, during dinner, because the Baron was bringing up Martin Luther, and the church wasn't a big fan of Martin Luther. And so, there's obviously some anger there, but that is not the reason that Ferenc would have killed him. There must have been another reason, and I have no idea what it was. Or if there is even anything there. Now, Ferenc is the big bad. Everyone hates him, charging higher taxes. But it also seems like a potential red herring where it's so obvious that it's hard to pin him down. And then a local thief, Martin Bauer, who I observed looking in the window of the Baron's guest house. And I'm like, oh, this dude's obviously going to steal. And we go up and talk to him, and he's like, hey, man, what's going on? You're like, hey, you going to steal? And he's like, what? What are you talking about? And you just keep talking. He's like, fine, just shut up. Yes, I'm going to steal. Do you want some money? I'll give you a cut. And I turned down the cut. But later we saw him running away right before the Baron was found murdered. But he did not seem like he had just committed murder. He seemed like he had just stolen something. So there is no good answer here for me, as far as I'm concerned. I think if I'm trying to get Piero off, though, I'm probably going to try to... the most likely one is the one that has the motive and has a potential murder weapon. And the one that I know the most about, which is a widow in Tassing. But I don't know. We'll go for it. What cause did she have? The Baron was responsible for the death of her husband. Responsible how? Years ago, when the Baron visited Tassing, he quarreled with Rannig Kemper. The two came to blows. According to the widow, the Baron beat Rannig so severely that he never fully healed from the injuries. And just fix never. It's so cool. It's still so. They've done this a million times now. It's still so neat when they just make those little edits.
It's nice.
Yeah, he died not long ago in their home, and their home is in legal jeopardy. The widow held the Baron responsible for all of this. And how do you propose this woman killed the Baron? He was not in the prime of his life, but certainly a robust man by all accounts. Even a healthy man can be killed by a blow to the back of the head. When I visited the widow's home, I found her late husband's walking stick. The head had been broken off. Did she have an explanation for the damage? I did not ask her, Your Reverence. Your Reverence, I would like to bring up a concern I have about Attilia Kempern's lease with the Abbey. Attilia Kempern is a good woman, but she has been made hard about what happened to her husband. I don't know. We could also leave it at that, which I almost feel like. So they are trying to steal her home. The Abbey is. Attilia's got they had a lease that was made by her husband with a previous person who used to run the Abbey. It might have been like even her husband's like grandfather might have done this. It is a long running lease that they should still be able to have their home without any issue. But because they have no kids, the Abbey's like, listen, we could just take it from them now and leave them on their own. And they are trying to amend the lease while they're still alive. So if I could try to bring that up and argue it, but I don't know. I feel like I'm going to leave it at that. Interesting. Thank you, Mr. Mahler. Do you have knowledge of anyone else who would want to kill the Baron?
Oh, gosh.
Right.
Oh, well, these are the same options. Got it.
Right. So there's no way I'm going to talk about the nun. I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to mention the prior.
I mean, you know.
Listen, you only live once, right?
YOLO.
That is an extraordinary claim, Andreas. The abbot speaks highly of the prior, and he oversees probably both your and brother Piero's work. Yeah, there he goes. Does he not? Yes, Your Reverence. Yes, but Prior Ferenc's role in the scriptorum has little bearings on his motive. An extraordinary claim requires extraordinary evidence for me to take it seriously. Yeah, this is where I'm going to be screwed. I don't think I have any real evidence. Why should I take the word of an artist over a respected officer of this abbey? Let's see. Maybe I did come up with something I can't remember. I can provide evidence of Prior Ferenc's motive. Please do so. On the day that the Baron arrived, I secretly observed Prior Ferenc in the scriptorum. Was this an intentionally covert observation? No, I was working alone and had dropped something on the floor. The prior did not know I was there. That's okay. You know what? I did find a book that the prior was going through, and it had a code in it. And then we went to his home, and we found a way to decode the book. And it mentions something like a woman and the innocent that were taken away, or something like that. So Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I think the bad guy did it. This is exactly what I want to be saying. Let's. Very well. Continue. He wrote a note, a cipher, in a book. It was associated with a volvel that he used to encode something in it. Yes, what had he encoded? I am not certain, but it is very suspicious. Master Mahler, could you please confine your remarks to information that leads us somewhere useful? This is why I didn't think it was actually useful, because I don't really know what the remarks mean, although of course I have my suspicions. Now, do you have any other evidence against the prior? No, Your Reverence. Very well. And it's like, could I have done more to get, like, at this point, I'm sure I could have done more to find more about this, but I also feel like it's very likely most people are going to get to this point of the game, this into the first act, and have an incomplete picture, because the game does continue, and I think there's going to be part of the game is, it's not about solving the murder. It doesn't feel like it's about living with your choices and living with other people's choices and seeing how that affects the characters, and that's one of the reasons I've been so interested in where this is going. Who else may have wanted to see the Baron dead? I can think of no one else who could have caused harm. Caused the harm to the Baron. Very well. Are you aware of anything else that might shed some light on this case? Has Brother Florian told you about the note he found in the Baron's clothing? Yes, Brother Florian explained how he came to find it and told me its contents. Master Alojäger has entered his testimony in our register. Yeah, I went for it there.
I think he'll stuck the landing.
Yeah, thank you. I don't understand the implications. Who is the innocent? Okay, there. It's not clear to me either, Your Reverence. Do you believe the murderer wrote it? Whoever wrote it was a talented scribe. I understand Kyrsos has two, the elderly brother Adok and the younger brother Guy. To be frank, Your Reverence, neither man has the skill to write in this way. There's something else about it, too. The style is just different. It's unlike Adok and Guy's writing, unlike mine. Yes, well, whatever the particulars, it seems it will remain a mystery that stands apart from the commission of the murder. Unfortunately, there is more to tell. I found another note. A note had been written in the same hand, on the same type of parchment, to the widow Kimpjorn.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that is deeply troubling, but again, beyond the bounds of my investigation. In any case, I thank you for bringing it to my attention. Of course, Your Reverence. Thank you again for your time, Master Mahler. Would it be impertinent of me to opine on who the killer is? So here we go. We got a chance to persuade. It's a persuasion check. My orator background, and I gave my name politely. So we have 5 ups. Made a pedantic point about corpus delicti, which I knew was going to come back to bite me. So we have 2 downs. Now, I mean, I'm gonna go for it because of course I want to have a chance here. We've succeeded to let me have an opportunity here, but I really don't know who I'm gonna say. Not all. You are an educated man and have conducted yourself appropriately in this inquiry. I reserve final judgment, of course, but who do you believe killed the Baron? Considering all the evidence, on second thought, I'd rather not influence your decision, Your Reverence. I mean, listen, guys, I don't know. I'm trying to. If I had to guess now, I really feel like I would be doing so pretty blindly. Let's go.
Hey, that's how all accusations are, baby.
Yep.
You know, this isn't normally my type of jam either, and I'm not necessarily opposed to the reedy talky joints, but I don't know, Grubb. This is kind of getting me.
Yeah, I think that there is a lot here. So the word pentiment means art that was drawn over and hidden behind new art. And it's like, as you play the game, you get the sense that is what they're going for widely about the story about human lives continuing and new stories that we tell each other, covering up old stories that are actually more truthful. The city that the abbots built on ancient Roman ruins that lie under everything. There's a lot happening, and there's these interesting moments where I'm walking back to my house and way in the background, the aqueducts, we saw a woman jump from one side of the aqueduct to the other. And it's like, what is that? What is all that about? And it's like, well, I got to find out. I have no idea where to even begin to find out, but I'm like, I got to find out. And I'll go to sleep, and the wheel of time that we see that passes like the board game, as we finish a turn, essentially, well, it stopped right in the middle of the night. Because the little girl who lives in the house where I'm staying, she came upstairs to interrupt my sleep to say hi, and she wanted a story. And I started telling her a story, and then she got bored and left, and I had to go back to sleep. And it's like, it feels very alive, and all these characters feel very fleshed out. And like as I learn more about them, I want to keep unraveling it, keeping them like a part of it. So
Yeah, because I've always been Disco Elysium curious, but I feel like there's just one too many systems that I just get choice paralysis playing through that. This seems like not an easier go because there are still choices to be made, but I don't know. It just seems a little bit more easier or palatable, perhaps.
I think that they this is coming from a team that very much understands what they're going for here, and they're not trying to overwhelm the player. They are each little bit of dialogue, each bit of character building, it's all like surgically designed to get across the point they're trying to get across, and they have a way with words where they can do that very efficiently. So I've accused the Widow Kempjorn. I don't feel great about this, but I'm living with my decisions. We're going to go for it, and we're going to see if this has like long-term ramifications or immediate ramifications. We'll see. And I do know she does not fear the church. She was very clear that she was like ready to go burn the thing down. So
fantastic.
Yeah, she's pretty cool old lady. Jacob says, noted. Your contributions to this inquiry are appreciated. Thank you for your time and candor. You are quite welcome, Your Reverence. Until later, Master Muller. Until then, Your Reverence.
Cool.
All right. So, let's see. Now we've begun Act 2, it seems like. Andreas, I didn't think you were coming
switching up the font.
Right, so this is just a normal peasant person kind of running in a standard font. And I am
great penmanship.
Right, but because Andreas slightly more educated, his penmanship looks like this. Andreas, I didn't think you were coming to this. I didn't think I was either. I suppose I wanted to see how this ends after all. Well, here I am. That's good. I like that first one. I knew the Widow Kempjorn was angry about Raining's death, but I didn't think she would really kill that Baron. You missed the trial, Andreas. A magistrate from Mittenwald came in, read all the charges, and found her guilty. Oh, no. Oh, no. Wait, I didn't think that would happen.
Oh, no.
Okay, I hope I hope it's right, everybody. You can see their magistrate up there. It's magistrate because the FS thing, and that's the historical lettering. So I think we get rid of that.
Cool.
Maybe it'll do it the next time if it loads another thing, but it should be it should be F. But for most people, it's going to render as an S. They just make it more difficult because I made that decision. She's near the end of her life. I don't think she has anything left to live for. I don't think she did it. The magistrate is wrong. I guess the lesson is to not cross an old woman. I'm going to go with that. There we go. She always seemed mean. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Say nothing. It's probably because everyone was mean to her. That's definitely true. I suppose that's true. I've never seen anyone say a kind word to her since her husband died. Oh, here comes the procession. This I feel real bad because I helped her. I helped her hang up pictures and stuff to get her to tell me things. And
yeah, I feel real bad right now, Grubb. I don't like this, man.
I feel real bad. I might have made a mistake. Otto, did I miss anything?
Oh boy,
no, you're fine.
Buddy.
Andreas, Otto, you did this. I know, Cyrus. I did this. Agnes de Gitolus Placante Mundi Messere Nobis. Okay. What are you all looking at? I like her. Well,
oh, wow.
Yeah, Matthew is continuing to speak whatever Latin. Atilia, isn't this what you bastards always wanted? Well, now you'll be rid of me. Undignified. Okay, everyone's yelling at her.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah. Oh, and they'll deliver text like that sometimes where it shakes, and that's that's probably if someone's yelling. If someone's angry, the ink will splat around it while the text gets written. It's really effective. It's really good stuff.
What a nice touch.
Yeah.
What a nice touch.
I ordered the executioner to carry out his duties. I actually just had dinner or lunch with the executioner and some other guys out in the woods. He's like, I don't know. He seems like a pretty nice guy. I ward him peace and safe conduct, whatever may befall him. All right. We'll get on with it. I'm gonna look away because I feel shame.
Uh-oh.
Finish him. My Lord Judge, have I executed well? Yeah, I mean, listen, you did great. You have executed as judgment and law have required. For that I thank God and my master who has taught me such art, and that God or Jesus often, or Christ, often gets like labeled in later after the sentence is already finished, and in red text. Yeah, and it sometimes depends on who's saying it, but most of the time that's how it works. I suppose I have you to thank for that. Thank? Why? Uh-oh. Oh, what did I do?
Oh, no.
Well, you told the Archdeacon about Ottilia and old Rannig, didn't you? Oh, man. Oh, great. That old woman never would have let her place go. Now I'll be able to expand my farm with Rannig's plots. Oh, motherfucker. There may even be enough time left to plant some crops this year. You're celebrating her death because you're getting her land. What's wrong with you? Great. I'm just going to say nothing. I don't...
What an interesting way to cover just, like, people's different speech patterns.
Yeah.
They're just, like, changing afterwards. Wow, that's so... I like that a lot.
I mean, like I said, it keeps me very engaged in a way that I... if it was just a series of text, I probably would be getting a little bit more fatigued with it. But I'm like, no, I'm just like, man, I want to see what's like they're going to mess up next in the letters and see how it changes. It's a small thing, but it's working.
Yeah.
Well, see you later, Andreas.
You know what? If this was like a test case to see if they could just do a purely dialogue Fallout, I'd be into that.
Right. Right. You kind of hope like, okay, I hope they learned a lot here and it gets applied to other games that do have combat systems. Because it's awesome to have combat as an option, because when you could turn to talking, it makes it feel like, oh, the talking is that much more valuable. This is our boy Piero. Andreas, has the time come for you to leave us? I'm afraid so, Brother Piero. Yes, and none too soon. I'm just going to say I'm afraid so. This farewell will have to be brief. Father Gernat made it clear I was no longer welcome in Kirsal. I pray that time will soften Father Abbott's heart. I hope he eventually realizes you were only trying to help me. And you can see Piero's font, very fancy. This is a sad parting, but inevitable. I had hoped you would stay a bit longer. But the world needs you more than Kirsal does. That W's going to turn an M. There it goes. You have grown beyond this old abbey and become a master in your own right. So I kind of have no idea what's going to happen now. It's, we spent the first act in this town investigating stuff. A woman was executed. Our boy is out. He's going to go back to working in the scriptorium in the abbey. I believe I'm going to go marry a woman and become a master and open my shop. But how does that circle back into all this stuff that happened here? I don't know. We'll see. I will miss you, my son. As I will you.
Oh.
Come, your masterpiece is complete. May I see it one last time before you go? Please, I value your assessment. The opinion of one old monk matters little. All the same, I am excited to see it finished at last. It is a masterpiece, truly worthy of the word. The Book of Hours, I think is what it is. I guess a calendar of sorts. I don't really... Hey, listen, I don't really understand it, Jan. I don't know what I'm looking at, but it looks pretty cool.
Sure, yeah. This is part of the reason why all this scares me.
Yeah, right.
All these charts.
Right. And it appears you took my advice to heart. What advice was that? To put yourself into the work, not just to interpret another artist's work, but to transform it into something true.
This is real cool.
Yeah, it is neat. This shows the world as it is, as you have seen it, even if it's not what we may want to see. Though it is not my place to say so, I am proud of you, Andreas.
Is this what people do with an abacus? Is it just like...
I'm pretty sure that's what they do with an abacus. It's just kind of take a book and look at numbers and move some beans around. What's this? A scrap of parchment? Uh-oh. Do not return here. A warning?
Oh, cool.
Oh, man. I bet I'm going to have to return here, actually. Whose hand is this? It doesn't look like Brother Adok's or Brother Guy's. Brother Florian and I found a similar note in the Baron's clothing. And another while I was investigating. They must have been written by someone who knew the darkest secrets of the town in this abbey. They tugged at those secrets to kill the Baron, like someone pulling at threads that have been buried in the past. A frightening thought, but who would do such a thing? I wish I knew. Do not trouble yourself overly about it. Your future lies outside of these walls. So it's like, so obviously someone is still out there writing these notes, and I'm like, yeah, I'm really curious to like figure this out. And it's not like, okay, we're not at, like, I was thinking, like, okay, we go through, we do the trial, and either I get it right or I get it wrong. And if I get it wrong, like, I just live with it, and maybe I start the game over and try it again. That's not how it's going to go. You just got to live with it, and there's, I guess, 10 hours left of the game. And I'm kind of, again, really curious to see how it plays out. I want to see if we can get past this and see if we get another chance to, like, just poke around to see what it looks like, and then we'll wrap this up. I hope that you will have time to visit me once or twice in your travels before the Lord takes me. I'll come as often as I can, assuming Father Carnot doesn't forbid it. We mustn't have faith that better days lie, or we must have faith that better days lie ahead for all of us. God bless you, Andreas Mahler. Thank you for your friendship. Until next time. You see the faces get kind of expressive when they want to, when they want to actually. Oh, I think we're here already. We're back. And I think time has passed. Are you all right, Master Andreas? We're Master. We got a boy with us. We look significantly older. Okay.
He looks like a Pinocchio.
Yeah, we got our Pinocchio with us. All right, let's do this. What?
Oh, that's fun.
Are you all right, Master Andreas? Yes, thank you. I was just remembering him. Trying to, anyway. It doesn't come easily anymore. Oh, would you like me to leave you alone? No, Casper, it's not necessary. There's nothing to be done about it now. It's too late. Like so many things. Yeah. Andreas Mahler, I never expected to see your face here again. Guy's kind of the shitty monk that was always giving Puro a hard time. Have you been in Nuremberg for these last 7 years? Alright, so 7 years later? No, yeah. Nuremberg for a few years, but I received some lucrative commissions abroad. And now we get a chance to pick more things. So this happened at the beginning. So pick a background that will affect your character's choices going forward. Press and hold to confirm your choice. So Poland, Andreas knows some Polish, bits of Czech, and Hungarian, and can reference cultural touchstones from Krakow, Prague, and Buda. England, Andreas knows some English and can reference cultural touchstones from London and other parts of Britain. France, Andreas knows French and can reference cultural touchstones from Paris, Tours, and Dijon. And Aragon, Andreas knows some Spanish and bits of Arabic and can reference cultural touchstones from Barcelona and Valencia. All right, Aragon is right near Skyrim. That's right. I kind of want to do Aragon. I'm going to go with that.
All right.
Let's see if we get a few other choices here, because I think we have a 3 or 4 at the beginning to really set this. I spent a few years in Aragon. They're quite fond of the Netherlands painters, and my style was, well, close enough. Are they still conducting the ghastly inquisitions there? Across the peninsula, yes, though less so in Aragon. Why? Ghastly. I find them cruel. The Jews were ejected from Dijon as well, an ugly part of our history. I'm surprised you care at all. Well, I'm not about to leap into a fire to save anyone, but I don't think it's right. What's happened to them? In spite of your extensive travels and success, you're still not welcome at Curacao. The abbot hasn't forgotten what happened. 7 years isn't all that long. I was just passing through on my way back to Nuremberg. I thought I'd stop in. I simply wanted to pay my respects to an old friend. Surely you understand that. I understand why Father Abbot expelled you from the abbey. What were you expecting? A hero's welcome? Oh man, now I got the fist. And the fist, of course, the one where because I was a troublemaker in my youth, I get this option. Fine, tell Father Gernot I'll be staying at the land house in town for the night or two before moving on. Well, I wouldn't mind. You can expect a mouthful of broken teeth if you don't hold your tongue. Let's go for it. The guy's a piece of shit. Master Andreas. Listen, Casper, sometimes you gotta fight some dudes.
Casper, this is a lesson. This is a lesson.
This is a lesson, absolutely. You can't hit me. I'm a monk. And I'm only telling you what the abbot said when you left. And monks have been hit before. Fine.
Yeah. Has anyone seen that fine USA programming monk?
Yes, exactly. He gets hit all the time. Fine. Tell Father Gernot I'll be staying at the land house in town for a night or two before moving on. Make a rude gesture and leave? Yeah, leave. All right, everybody, here we go. Yes, why is he so rude? Hell wow. Yeah. Revolution. And there you go. See the time passing.
Oh, man.
So now we're that part of the day, and so but now we can't. If we had other, like right there, obviously we only had the one option. But if we were exploring the town and we made a choice, time would have passed, and anything else we could have done at that time, it's gone to us. We don't have those options anymore, and that's kind of how the progression works.
That's cool.
Let's see. I kind of think we could probably wrap it up here. There is points where you're walking around the town. We didn't get to show off much of that, but really, I think I showed off the parts that all that walking around comes to, which is probably more important. You get the idea of moving a character around in an adventure game. That's what that stuff is like. It's very familiar. It's nothing too new. But, gathering up the evidence and then presenting it, well, you can kind of see how that works. Any questions, Jan? I mean, this game's $20. It's out now. It's in Game Pass for PC and Xbox. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that was going to be the only last thing. Just like this is on Steam. It's on Game Pass. God, this is definitely another one of those no-brainer Game Pass checkouts at least. But
yeah.
I don't know. I've seen enough to be intrigued that I'll give it a shot. Oh man, I love the little glow on the candles they got going on there.
The art style is really grown on me. I think when I originally saw it, when I originally saw it, I'm like, I don't know. I recognize this art style, and I've never really considered it much because it didn't appeal to me. It looked really old-fashioned, and now living in it, being in the game, like feeling how it translates these characters' emotions, it's effective. It works for what they're going for. Depressed in chat asks, is there a game over? Like, can you die? I haven't encountered any situations like that yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull that card at some point, and that's like, that's just how the story ends. But I haven't seen anything that would suggest that's possible yet.
Yeah, and I could see the lack of voice acting being a little bit off-putting, but hey, maybe it eventually got patched into Disco Elysium. So
yeah, and there's obviously this is it's a weird choice. I think it's a voice assist.
Voice assist options.
So I think
player says toward the end of my stage passing.
So you can try that.
Better.
Is that what you guys want? It's not great. Right?
There we go.
It's no voice acting. Obviously, it's no voice acting. If for some reason this seems better to you, you have these, Zira.
Voice assist options. Player
Oh,
says,
hell yeah.
You're not panicked and accused my friend.
There it is.
Brother
So text to
Pierrot,
speech. So
submitting the
if you want that, you
options.
could do it. But
Options.
I'm just reading it, and I've been fine with that. Also, obviously you have a bunch of language options here.
Cool.
So it's very ready to go for everybody who wants to just hop right in, no matter where you're at. All right, there we go. Okay, well, Jan, that is Pentiment. I've really been enjoying it. Thanks for hanging out with me during this quick look.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm ready to read.